Ever get that feeling like you're about to do something big, but that voice in your head, it just slams on the brakes?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Like a total, nope, not happening kind of feeling. Well, what if I told you there's this like ridiculously simple tool to help you break free from that hesitation?
I'm listening.
Today we're diving deep into the 5-second rule, and it's a lot more than just counting.
Right. It's really about taking action.
And it's all about you, how you can use this to make things happen.
Totally.
We're going to break it all down, how it works, the science behind it, and most importantly, how it plays out in the real world.
Sounds good.
Okay, so first things first. What is this 5-second rule? How does it actually work?
So basically, the moment you feel that urge to act, you want to go for a goal, make a decision, you count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you move.
No overthinking, no second guessing, just go.
Exactly, just action.
So it's like you're tricking your brain before it can like talk you out of it.
Yeah, kinda. You see, our brains are wired to protect us, right?
Yeah.
Even if the threat is something good like public speaking or starting a new project.
So like I want to go for it, but my brain's like, hold on, danger.
Right. But we experience that as the spotlight effect. Like we're exaggerating all the risks and how embarrassed we might feel.
So basically, we're our own worst enemies before we even begin.
Exactly. But here's the thing. That 5-second countdown, it's like a circuit breaker.
Whoa.
It interrupts that fear response and kicks in the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that makes decisions. You go from fear to action, just like that.
Hold on, so just by counting down, we're changing our brains.
Oh, got it.
That's wild, but doesn't that make you like super impulsive? Should we be jumping into everything without thinking?
That's a great question, and it's important to clarify. The 5-second rule isn't about no thinking. It's about stopping the overthinking that keeps us stuck.
Right.
Think of it as a tool to break through that initial, I don't want to.
And get things moving.
Okay, so how do you find that balance then between pushing past fear and not doing something totally reckless? It's about knowing what kind of decision you're facing. The 5-second rule works best when it's something that aligns with your goals, your values. It's not about making crazy choices.
So it's more about recognizing when you hesitate and using that countdown to bridge the gap, especially when it's fear holding you back.
Exactly. And the cool thing is the more you use it, the stronger those pathways in your brain become. You're actually rewiring yourself to be more action-oriented.
Okay, now that's pretty amazing, but how does all this actually play out in real life? Can you give us some examples? Like how does this 5-second thing translate into doing something?
Absolutely. Let's take procrastination. We all have those tasks we dread. I got to start that report.
Right.
Instead of wasting hours thinking about it, hit that countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, open the document and start typing.
You're like cutting off the procrastination before it even begins. I can see how that would be super helpful.
And it's not just for work stuff. What about healthy habits? Want to exercise more regularly? When that alarm goes off, instead of hitting snooze, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and boom, you're up and lacing up those shoes.
So it's about taking those moments where you normally hesitate and turning them into action. But what about bigger goals, like speaking up in a meeting or even changing careers? Does the 5-second rule work there too?
Absolutely. Say you're in a meeting and you have an idea, but you're scared to share it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you raise your hand, you speak your mind. Same thing with bigger life changes. Feeling scared about quitting your job to chase your dream. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
And you start taking actual steps to make it happen.
It's like a superpower. Just thinking about it's making me feel more confident. But what about coming off as like impulsive or even rude if I'm always acting on this 5-second thing?
I get that. It's a good point. It's not about ignoring social cues or bulldozing over people. There's a difference between overcoming your own hesitation and just being inconsiderate.
So it's more about managing your own internal stuff, not about throwing all manners out the window.
Exactly. It's about giving yourself the power to act on what you want, even when fear is in the way.
This is all really fascinating. So we've got the basics of a 5-second rule and how it works in our brains, but I'm really excited to see how this plays out in real life.
Me too.
So in the next part, we'll dig into how this simple countdown has helped people do some pretty incredible things.
It's amazing what people have accomplished with this.
I can't wait to hear about it.
Me neither.
Okay, so we're back, and I'm still kind of geeking out over this whole 5-second rule thing.
Pretty cool, right?
But knowing about it and actually seeing it work in our lives, and that's a whole other level.
You're totally right. It's like anything else. You have to actually use it to make it work.
Right. It's like having that gym membership you never use. What's the point? It's
Yeah.
got to be about building that habit of just doing stuff right.
Exactly. And like working out consistency is key. The more you use the 5-second rule, the more it becomes like second nature.
Like you don't even have to think about it anymore. You just do it.
Yep. And you mentioned those inspiring stories earlier. People who've used this to achieve some amazing things.
Yeah, those really got me thinking. So tell me more. What kind of stories are we talking about here?
Okay, so there's this one woman who had really bad social anxiety. Leaving the house was a huge deal for her.
Oh, wow. I can only imagine.
But she started using the 5-second rule for tiny things like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, answer the door, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, say hi to the cashier.
Wow. Using it to tackle something so big little by little. Did it actually work for her?
It totally did. Each small step built up her confidence like she was leveling up in a game. And eventually she could handle things that used to totally freak her out.
That's awesome. It really shows that starting small can make a big difference. You don't have to go from 0 to 100 overnight.
Yeah, and don't forget to celebrate those small wins. Each one reinforces that you're on the right track.
Like giving yourself a high five every time you push past your comfort zone. But sometimes I've tried the countdown and still didn't do the thing. Is it okay to not be perfect at this?
Of course. It's not about being a robot.
Yeah.
You know, there will be times when you hesitate or overthink or forget the countdown altogether.
That makes me feel better. I was starting to think I was doing it wrong.
Not at all. It's about progress, not perfection. The 5-second rule isn't going to magically solve all your problems, but it gives you a way to face them with more confidence.
So it's like having a tool to help you get back on track when you start to veer off course?
Exactly. It's about building that resilience.
Mm.
The 5-second rule helps you get better at dealing with those tough moments.
Okay, that makes sense. But let's be real, some goals are just massive and scary, not just a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, change my life kind of thing. How does this rule help with those?
Think of those big goals as a bunch of smaller steps. Let's say you want to write a novel. Don't focus on the whole thing, just break it down.
Oh, I see. So instead of write a novel, it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, open the laptop.
Yes. And then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, write the first sentence.
Okay, that feels way more manageable. It's like building something one piece at a time.
And just like that, your goal starts taking shape. Each time you use the 5-second rule, you're adding another piece, moving a little closer to what you want.
I love that. It's like you don't need to have the whole blueprint figured out. Just start building and trust the process.
And speaking of things taking shape, I remember this other story about an entrepreneur who had this amazing business idea but was terrified to pitch it to investors.
Oh man, I bet the 5-second rule came in handy there. What happened? Did they end up doing the pitch?
They did. Right before walking into the meeting, they totally panicked. But instead of letting it take over, they did the countdown, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and went for it.
Wow, that takes guts. So what happened?
The pitch was a hit. The investors loved the idea, and they got the funding they needed.
That's amazing. It's like that initial push, that moment of courage can lead to some pretty incredible outcomes.
And the coolest thing, this entrepreneur said they started using the 5-second rule for all sorts of challenges after that.
So they went from using it once to making it part of their everyday life.
Exactly. It totally changed their approach to everything.
We've talked about procrastination, habits, fears. But what about self-confidence? You think the 5-second rule can help with that too?
Definitely. Self-doubt is a huge thing that holds people back. The 5-second rule can help quiet that inner critic and let you shine.
So instead of letting those negative thoughts take over, you use the countdown to interrupt them and just take action.
Right. Imagine you're about to give a presentation and you start feeling nervous, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you shift your focus to your main points. Remember how much you've prepared and step onto that stage with confidence.
It's like giving yourself a pep talk, but with a supercharged countdown boost.
Exactly. Remember, building self-confidence takes time. It's not about magically believing in yourself overnight. It's about using tools like the 5-second rule to challenge those negative thoughts and act anyway.
So it's about being prepared when those doubts show up and having a plan to fight back. It's like having a shield against negativity.
And the more you use that shield, the stronger you become. It's about training your brain to focus on the positive and believe in yourself.
This is so inspiring. It's like taking back control of your thoughts and choosing to focus on what you're good at. But let's be honest. Sometimes even when we try our best, we still get stuck in that overthinking loop.
It's true, our brains love to analyze, and sometimes that works against us. That's where the 5-second rule comes in. It's a simple way to break out of that overthinking and get moving.
It's like hitting the reset button on your thoughts, giving yourself a fresh start.
Exactly, and the more you practice, the easier it gets to bounce back from setbacks and keep going.
So it's about building that mental flexibility, being able to switch from hesitation to action even when it's tough.
You got it. It's about being in charge of your own life, choosing what you focus on instead of getting stuck in the negativity.
This all makes a lot of sense, but I do wonder, what about the people who say the 5-second rule is too simple? That real change takes more than just counting down.
It's true, the 5-second rule isn't a magic cure-all.
Hmm.
Real change often takes a lot of work, self-reflection, planning, effort, all of that.
So it's not that those things aren't important, it's that the 5-second rule helps you get started. It's like the spark that gets the fire going.
Exactly. It doesn't replace the fuel or the oxygen, but it's what gets the whole thing started.
I love that analogy. So the 5-second rule is a tool, not a magic wand. It's about breaking through that initial resistance and then using that momentum to keep moving forward.
Exactly. You combine the power of action with smart planning and knowing yourself. The 5-second rule is that bridge between what you want to do and actually doing it.
This has been such an insightful conversation. We've covered so much ground, the science behind the 5-second rule, how to use it in different situations, and even address some of the criticisms. But now I'm really eager to hear those real-life stories you mentioned.
Oh, I've got some amazing ones. Stories that show how the 5-second rule has helped people achieve incredible things, overcome obstacles, and live happier lives.
I'm all ears. Let's hear them. All right, those real-life stories, I'm ready for some inspiration. Hit me with them.
Okay, so remember how we were talking about the 5-second rule for big goals?
Hmm.
Not just the everyday stuff?
Yeah, like the ones that feel kind of impossible at first.
Right, so check this out. There's this guy who wanted to run a marathon.
A marathon, whoa.
Yeah, but he hadn't exercised in years. He was overweight. I mean, the whole thing seemed completely out of reach.
Oh, I totally get that. It's like looking at this huge mountain and thinking, how am I ever going to climb that?
Exactly. But instead of giving up mission, this guy decided to use the 5-second rule. He started super small, like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, put on my running shoes.
Okay, I can do that.
Right. And then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, walk around the block. Just tiny steps.
So it's about breaking it down into things you can actually manage.
Yeah. And each day, he used the 5-second rule to push a little further. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, run for 5 minutes. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, sign up for a 5K.
Like building up to the big thing with each little win.
And guess what? A year later, he crossed that marathon finish line.
No way, he actually did it.
He did. Just goes to show you what consistent action can do. Even those crazy dreams can come true.
I love that. So we've talked about using the 5-second rule for ourselves, but can you use it to help other people too?
Oh, for sure. Think about like parents trying to get their kids to try new things or face their fears. You know,
Okay.
a little nudge and a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go for it can make a big difference.
Right, it's like giving them a tool to deal with those I can't moments.
And it's not just for kids either. It can work in coaching, mentoring, even just being there for a friend who's struggling.
So the 5-second rule can be like a shared language of encouragement, helping each other to step up and do great things.
Exactly. It's like this ripple effect of positive action.
So all this talk about the 5-second rule, I'm curious, have you used it in your own life?
Oh, yeah, definitely. In fact, just this morning, I was feeling super overwhelmed by my to-do list.
Ugh, the to-do list. The struggle is real.
Right. I just wanted to stay in bed. But then I was like, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, up and at 'em.
It's so easy to fall into that procrastination trap, but it sounds like the 5-second rule helps you break free.
It really does. It reminds me that I have the power to choose action, even when I'm feeling lazy or scared.
It's about taking back control, right?
Yeah.
Focusing on what you can do instead of getting stuck in the what ifs.
And that feeling of control is so powerful. It makes you realize you can create the life you want.
I think that's what makes the 5-second rule so cool. It's not just about getting things done, it's about changing your whole mindset.
Totally. It's a reminder that we're all capable of amazing things. And sometimes all it takes is that little push to unlock that potential.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one thing you hope our listeners take away from all of this?
Don't underestimate that 5-second countdown. It might seem small, but it can change everything. Use it to beat procrastination, build confidence, chase your dreams, create a life you're actually excited about.
So no matter what you're facing, start today, start small, and believe in the power of that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
We want to hear your stories too. What
Yeah.
challenges have you overcome? What awesome things have you accomplished? Share your 5-second rule wins and inspire others.
It's been amazing exploring the 5-second rule with you all. Until next time, keep pushing, keep growing, and remember 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go make it happen.